Wheelie way! Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. I am kicking off a second series on this channel at the moment. So I've just started a series about learning Rwandan Sign Language, and this one is going to be a little bit more personal because I know that I make quite a few videos out and about in Rwanda, driving the motorbike around, going out, checking out bars and things like that. But also I'm kind of a homebody. I like to stay home and just chat with you. So I thought today I'd have like a cozy little cup of tea and a little chat with you, but it's currently about 27 degrees at the moment, so it's actually a lot warmer than it has been for a while. I apologise if I look a little bit shiny today, and I got a glass of water instead. It really is feeling quite warm. But the purpose of this one is going to be, the purpose of this series is going to be looking back at I was going to say a vlog. I vlog now. Vlogging is video logging. That's what I do now. For years before I found YouTube, I was a blogger. So I used to write like a diary online. And I've always done that because I like to kind of remember the things I've done and the people I've met and the places I've been. So I used to write a blog online, and I started a few of them in the past, but one I started just before I moved out to Rwanda in 2007, and I kept it the whole way through from about the end of 2007 to when I returned to the UK in 2009. So it documented my entire stay as a volunteer in Rwanda. And I haven't looked at this in a very, very long time. A few years after I got back to the UK, I actually went back through and edited it because grammar, spelling wasn't great, and there were a few things in there that just didn't really read very well. So being a writer, I had to go back and edit my old work, and I was gonna just go through that edited version and see what life was like back in Rwanda back in the day. I don't remember what's in this. So there might be a few pauses where I stop and go, oh, but you'll be coming along for the surprise with me. So let me find this blog. So the blog is called Caribou and Shuti, which at the time I felt meant sort of like welcome friend. I was just really guessing at the Kinyarwanda on that one. But 2007, we'll begin at the beginning and we'll work through until we get to the end, until we get to me returning to the UK. So 2007, I'm going to start in March. There were 5 entries for March 2007. Now, I didn't arrive in Rwanda until the end of 2007. So this will be my life in the UK leading up to, I guess, joining VSO and coming here. I think maybe I started this blog when I found out that I'd been accepted to VSO, and I knew that I would be coming to Rwanda, but I can't remember. So okay, Saturday the 31st of March 2007 is the first entry on Caribou in Shuti. Oh, okay, so there's a picture of Cardiff here. Something I need to say is back in the day, I mean, I uploaded photographs to Flickr. There was an online photo album account called Flickr that was very popular, and I put all of my photographs on that. And what I didn't know at the time was that if you didn't upload the picture directly onto the blog, then if Flickr went down, so did the photographs. And what I've been doing was just copying like the images and pasting them into my blogs, which wasn't the same as uploading them to the blog. So I lost a ton of photographs, but also I wasn't taking many photographs. I think I was putting one main photograph at the top of each post. So there wasn't a lot to see, and I might intersperse this ramble with some stock footage or some pictures from later years just to make it a bit more interesting. So I don't know if that's a stock picture or one that I took. It looks too good to be one that I took, but that's Cardiff Bay. There is great excitement in the household tonight as the number of inhabitants is set to rise by 1 tomorrow, when a supposed she, who is in fact a he, is due to arrive from France. Okay, yeah, We have had other housemates before. First there was John, who had been living and working abroad but returned to look after his mother who was not well. He stayed until he found teaching work and could afford a place of his own, so he stayed for a couple of months. The house was a happy one whilst he was here, and more than a few glasses of wine were consumed, and discussions on life, love, the world and everything had. Right, so just to explain, at this point in my life, before I left for Rwanda, I was living in Cardiff, which is the capital of Wales. So if you're not too familiar with the geography of the UK, you've got England, you've got Scotland at the top, you've got Ireland, which is an island out in the sea, and you've got like a little bump going down the left-hand side of the UK, and that's a separate country called Wales. It's part of the United Kingdom, but it is a separate country. It's very, very cool. It's got a dragon as its flag. It's probably one of the coolest flags in the world. Years and years and years ago, I did my first degree in Reading. And after I finished at Reading, I had a partner at the time, and we headed off and we went and spent about a year travelling around Australia. And when we got back, my partner got a job in Wales. So we moved to Wales. And I started working for the British Deaf Association there, and a lot of sign language going on. And then my partner and I actually split up, which was really sad because we had a really cute house. And we went our separate ways, and I moved just down the road, and I moved into this attic flat above a gypsy jazz musician. So her name was Helwyn and her son Owain. And they were absolutely lovely. They were exactly what I needed at that point in my life, you know? Because my job kind of went a bit flat, my relationship went a bit flat, I wasn't too sure what I was doing with myself, and it just provided this really nice little shared house where we all looked after each other, and it was perfect. It was the perfect place to be. But I lived in this tiny little attic. I'll see if I can find some pictures of it actually. And I had a little snake called Nider, which is Welsh for snake. And Nider actually escaped and is probably still living in Wales somewhere. But at this particular point, I was living with Helwyn and Owain, and there was a French guy coming. And I think the reason that I said a supposed she who's actually a he is because I think he had a very gender neutral name, and when I first heard it I wasn't sure if it was a man or a woman who was moving in. But it turned out to be a bloke from France who was really sweet. And it was nice because there were just different people coming in and living in the house and leaving the house, like John, who was a teacher. And I've also mentioned down here that there was a lady called Elizabeth from Patagonia. And Patagonia is fascinating. I'd never heard of anybody from Patagonia before, but it turns out that in history, a long time ago, actually, I think I've written it here. Then came Elizabeth, who was a Patagonian Welsh student. Now, this was just fascinating because, don't hate me, Wales, but you have to acknowledge that Welsh is not one of the world's better known languages. It's kind of slightly obscure. Not many people have heard about it outside of the UK. And what I didn't know was that long ago in history, a group of Welsh speakers had ended up in Patagonia. And so there's this completely crazy little Welsh speaking community of Patagonians. So as I said, I was like totally surprised because I didn't know that anybody outside of Wales spoke Welsh. But I've put here, Patagonia does indeed have a large Welsh-speaking community. Many Patagonian language and teaching students travel to Wales each year on exchange to improve their skills. This does lead to some confusion though, as Elizabeth's first language was Spanish. So Elizabeth spoke Spanish and Welsh, Helwyn spoke English and Welsh, me and Owain spoke English only, and Elizabeth spoke Welsh with a Spanish accent because she was from Patagonia, which led to all kinds of interesting pronunciation questions. So yeah, if you didn't know, now you know. Patagonia and Wales have a joint shared history. In fact, I think there's a film called The Last Sin Eater, and I'm just wondering, let me just look that up, if The Last Sin Eater was based in Patagonia. So The Last Sin Eater is set in the Appalachian Mountains in America. My geography sucks. So Eastern United States, so not Patagonia, near to Pittsburgh. So there's quite a large Welsh-speaking community there as well. But yeah. So anyway, things I didn't know before I met Elizabeth. So Elizabeth left about a month ago now, and life has settled into an easy, no fights for the shower routine. It will be good to have a new housemate, although perhaps a little strange at first, especially for him surrounded by us. Brave boy. Oh, here we go. The gender confusion came as Helwyn assumed Eric was an abbreviation of Erica, as she believed, and I can see why, that a young bloke wouldn't really want to move into a house with a woman, her son, and a student. But on receipt of a photograph via email, she is decidedly a 27-year-old he. And he is arriving at 2 p.m. tomorrow. So he was actually the same age as me. No, I was a little bit younger. I was 26 in 2007. So, all right. So that is the opening post. That is the curtain rising on a blog that I started just before I moved to Rwanda, and I kept all the way through my time in Rwanda. Yeah, it set the scene. I was living in Cardiff. I was a student at the time. I was doing my master's degree at the University of Cardiff, and I was studying deaf people, so sign language signers, as victims of crime in the British legal system, and how they kind of navigated the legal system. And yeah, let me know if this is of interest. I am going to make a few more posts on this. I'm a little bit nervous, I have to say, because I can't remember what I wrote. Like, how long ago is this? This is a long time ago. This is almost 20 years ago now. Yeah, but I'm excited to see what I wrote and what happened and what I thought of it. So yeah, that's the purpose of keeping a diary, is so that, you know, many, many, many years later, you can look back on it. And I thought it would be interesting to do this because it would be interesting to compare Rwanda and my first impressions of Rwanda back when I was in my 20s, and compare that to Rwanda as my home now in my 40s. So see if we can see anything that's changed. All right, see you in the next one.